along?
Well, do you know how to take the perfect wedding photo? I do not, so I need help. And then our next guest is here to help us with this because every bride wants a gorgeous wedding photo. And I'm doing mine at sunset, so that's what I need. I need the perfect sunset, the dress, the groom. Awesome. What do I do?
Dave McIntosh is here.
Yes, Dave.
And businessman turned photographer. How are you? Welcome to the show.
Well, thank you for having me.
So here we have Miss Julie Wright getting married here in a moment.
Less than a month.
It'll be a moment.
Live on the show today. No, but it's coming up really soon.
It is coming up in the next couple of weeks, yeah.
So how do you take the perfect wedding photo?
Well, it truly is a collaboration. And I think the thing to think about is to, first of all, know a little bit about the anatomy of how the human mind looks at a photo. So if you don't mind, let's kind of step through that just a bit, and then we'll get back to your question.
Right.
So I think we have maybe a couple slides to show folks, but basically the human mind, when it looks at a photo, straight up and down is boring. So whatever you do, don't just stand two sticks straight up and down. That's very, very boring.
Here's a photo.
So for example, here's this is Jackie. And this is over at the Arundel Mills Hotel, but in front of the hotel. But you can see they're leaning. The eye looks to what's in focus. It looks to color. It looks to what's the brightest. So you can see basically what you want to be doing is, this is what I'll call the modified prom pose. There's only a handful of poses really, and it's just modifying.
None of those prom pictures ever look good when you look back at them.
And what made the prom pictures cheesy, right?
Yeah.
You're standing kind of with each other, side by side.
Yeah.
You might have your faces pressed up next to each other, but you're both facing the camera. So that's what you don't want to do. You stand straight up, back to back, both facing the camera.
So this guy here is kind of at an angle, and then she's not as at an angle as he is, but she's not straight on either.
Right, so all we've done now is instead of the prom pose, we've just flipped them around a little bit. They're at a 45-degree angle to the camera, but you can see basically what they're doing is they're facing towards each other. Same thing here. Now the important thing is the angles. So look, the human eye likes to see angles, likes to see color, likes to see sharpness and light. So what I'm doing is the couple is working in such a way to give us slight angles. You can see the bend of her arm, the hands. The hands can't be stiff. They have to be nice and kind of soft. Think ballerina, think ballet. And look at her hands and how she's just gently touching him.
Something that keep it more natural.
Right.
Very natural.
Right.
What I try to do with the couple is initially I'll actually let them interact with each other, and just the natural interaction by itself will give me some photos, but then if things don't look quite right, then I'll kind of coach them a little bit on some of these tips. Now what I recommend is some practice, and what we show on the screen right now is an engagement shoot, a perfect way. It's probably maybe a little late for you now, although I have done engagement shoots, Julie, right up until one day before the wedding.
Of course.
But the best way to do this is to practice it, and how do you practice it? You practice it with an engagement shoot.
Right, but I like the one on the left because the tree is like at an angle, and then she's leaning over, he's looking down. That's nice too.
You're getting it. So
all
that's
the angles. Okay,
you got
so
all the angles going on there, and then you can see he on the right hand side. That's Francis. He's kind of leaning backwards. She's leaning into him. You can see here too also the color contrast.
And the skirt played up nice in this picture too because of the stripes.
We do this all the time with photos. We stand next to each other and then we look forward like that. But
right. So you're saying we should be. So the angle where I'm holding up your leg is good.
Right.
and girls do this all the time. They pop the hip.
Yeah.
And it looks, and they pop the hip, they give the eye the curve that it wants. It looks a little cheesy because they're, you can see they're obviously popping it. So what you do is give them a reason to pop the hip and give you a curve and make it look natural. So you just have to find an excuse. So you pop the hip and you go right under your groom, you grab him and pull him towards you and it looks natural.
Now if I'm a bride, I want me to be the center of the attention. I don't want the house. I don't want those other people in the background. So how do you still keep the bride on her special day the center of attention?
Well, that's actually a really good question, kid. If you look at these photos, for the most part, now the one on the screen is probably not the best example, but for the most part, one person is typically featured in each photo. Even though the couple is there, you'll see that usually it is the bride.
She's right in the middle there, and she looks great.
Yeah.
Dave, here's the camera.
Okay.
We're gonna pretend this is Julie and I's wedding day.
All right.
Oh my goodness.
You stay seated.
Okay.
What?
Yeah. Yeah.
So we're gonna be seated. This will be seated.
Yeah. Look.
Well, and actually,
Okay.
so that's a good tip. If the bride is, let's say, taller than the groom, a good tip for that would be, you got the lean going on here.
I'm trying to do what you want me. All right, ready?
Okay. Now what you have to do, you lean in. Now you have to kind of tilt your head, lean your heads a little bit. There you go. We got that. Okay, we got it. That's actually a good photo. Now I'm going to get this angle here. Now, for the most part, though, you probably don't want to be looking towards the camera. We want to keep it photojournalistic. So you're going to kind of cross your eyes. See, he's basically fawning on you.
Oh dear.
He's fawning on you, but you're not looking at him.
You're gripping that
I'm sorry.
Because you're gripping a little too tight here.
This is the closest
now what happens is,
I've ever
now you can't, now when you're this close together though, you can't look at each other's eyes because that's not natural. So he's fawning on you, but you're kind of looking off. There you go. There you go. Now we're looking. We've got. There we go.
And we are out of time. Dave McIntosh with all these great tips for brides. Find Dave McIntosh. More information about him on our website as well. Thank you for coming in.
This.
Great tips.
It's my pleasure.
And the perfect wedding photo.
And the perfect wedding photo. We just did it. Unfortunately, we're not getting married.
Just want to clarify that real quickly.
What can you do to help us out with that?
I hope your fiance's not watching.
But hey, I hope you're on Twitter right now because we're going to tweet that picture to our show and other behind-the-scenes fun stuff, too. More of Let's Talk Live. Come on, stay with us.
Thanks, Dave.
Woohoo!